94 WIP. Great to be with you, off and rolling on this Monday morning, following up on an absolutely wild weekend in sports. I mean, so much. Obviously, from our standpoint, the Phillies taking 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, including just a crazy game yesterday and a fantastic win by the Phils. So we'll talk a lot about that today. But also, of course, Ovechkin setting the NHL's goals record. You know, a year after LeBron set the points record in the NBA, we get a goals record in hockey taken down. That's a big one. Of course, we're getting close to the draft. We also had a lot of college basketball this weekend. Holy mackerel. So all of it with you, 215-592-9494. Rich.
Hi, Joe.
Hello. Good morning, Joe.
Nobody has walked on the moon since 1972.
Well, I know we haven't gone in a while. Yeah.
Well, was Apollo 17. There was a mission into a narrow canyon, deeper than the Grand Canyon.
Yep.
They went and explored this gorge, and before leaving, they left behind a plaque that reads, "Here, man completed the first explorations of the moon." The first explorations of the moon. That plaque sits there.
Yep.
But we haven't been back since.
No, well, with one exception, General Zod. Superman
well,
2.
Zod and what were the names?
Yeah, Non and Ursula or whatever her name was.
Ursa.
But Ursa, yeah. But, you know, Zod was the guy.
No, he wasn't.
Well,
Non was
Superman was
tougher
the guy.
than Zod.
All right, good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. So 215-592-9494. What a weekend. Holy mackerel. I mean, we don't get many weekends like this. I mean, college basketball was crazy. Hockey was great with Ovechkin. That was really cool. And, John, the Phils took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So let's crank it up, ladies and gentlemen, at 215-592-9494. Obviously, you can react to all of it. We'll start with the Phils. I mean, John, this was a uniquely big series, you know, going into it, obviously, for early April. I mean, the third series of the year. And I'll just say this. I really hope people are on board with the Phils now. And I'm talking about those, you know, the kind of doubting and they wake me up in October and like that whole thing. I mean, I'm all in, guys. And all I can tell you is this. The Phillies couldn't win the World Series this weekend, and they can't win it for about another 6.5 months. And they couldn't lose it this weekend. What they could show us, and I think they have in the first week and a half of the season, and I think they showed it to us this weekend, is they're a great baseball team. Great. Okay, capital G. Not great, lowercase g, good. I think the Phillies are great. They're going to win somewhere between 90 to 100 games. Maybe they even sneak a little over 100. Probably unlikely, but they're a great baseball team. I was proud of them this weekend. Were there imperfections? Absolutely. Do they have a Romano problem? Absolutely. Do they feel the effect of not having Jeff Hoffman? Absolutely. There's no question about that. But when you look at the ledger, my God, here is a lot more positive than negative. It started with Luzardo on Friday. It ended with a great comeback yesterday, and a nice job by Alvarado closing it out. I mean, all of it on the table for you at 215-592-9494. John, what hit you this weekend, man? There was a lot.
Believe it. I mean, believe that this team is that good. They just proved to everyone that they're better. Without Freddie Freeman, they're better than the Dodgers. That's encapsulated in that weekend, and I know that it's a long season and things are going to change and all that, but we were masterful as a team. It was an incredible team effort, and the back and the forth and the battle. The battle was one that gives this group confidence. The battle that we won is going to pay dividends. Friday, Luzardo, I mean, that was masterful. 2 hits, no earned runs. Saturday, Nola. I was there, and I'm trying to see the pitches. They don't look bad. You know, Nola once again gave up a couple home runs, like we've come to expect.
It wasn't good enough, but it also wasn't a disaster.
It didn't seem terrible. It seemed sort of comparable to what Christopher, Sanchez gave you the next day.
Well, it was, honestly. And they just happened to hit more the Sunday.
Sure. Christopher Sanchez just got more run support. But, man, the Dodgers yesterday, they proved that they are not infallible. That was messy at times on their part. It was awesome to watch, though, that Glasgow Giant guy fall apart.
He really did.
But our hitters take advantage and say, hey, make your pitches, man.
Yeah.
Make your pitches. We'll wait.
I agree.
That was awesome, man,
Yeah.
because finally it felt like the tables were turned. I feel like we've had to endure the wrong side of that a few times here. Now we just sat back, and it was 11 walks. And 11 walks, we'll take them if you're going to give them. But that Glasgow afraid of water, and we took full advantage. But then, after the Grand Slam, thank you, Casty. Good haircut. Looking awesome, especially with the Grand Slam. But then we gave that up with Romano. Giving up a 4-run lead against the world champs, that feeling was rough. But I don't think I doubted that we would battle. I don't think I doubted that we had a chance. But we did it. We actually did it.
Against
we came back.
A good bullpen.
Against an elite bullpen.
Yeah, that's right.
That is elite baseball, an awesome weekend of baseball. We did come back after giving up the 4-run lead, and we outplayed the undefeated world champions. Now, and they were defeated, but only by us. Now they're doubly defeated by us.
Yep.
And I know they'll be better when Freddie Freeman's back. But, Rob Thompson after the game says, I love this club. I love the chance that we have of being special. This team got it done this weekend. They proved they are special. They proved they belong in that elite conversation. And you play this sport for one reason. The ultimate reason is to win the World Series. And it's amazing to have this measuring stick this early this season that we can feel so good about, that can help carry the outlook a little bit.
I agree, John. I agree with that.
And if we end up facing the Dodgers in games of consequence, think about the fact that we don't just match up well against the Dodgers. We've now beaten the Dodgers in 8 of the last 10 meetings and 6 of the last 7 at Citizens Bank Park.
Yep.
We've outscored them 38-20 at Citizens Bank Park in those meetings.
Sure.
I'm good. I feel good about where we stand.
Yeah, listen, I was totally psyched this weekend, guys. I mean, after what the Eagles did, for me, it took me longer, and I think for a lot of us, a little bit longer, to see how great the Eagles were. To me, it didn't come into focus until November. I remember, when they beat the Ravens, that's when I started thinking, this feels different. This looks different. I think the Phillies are a great baseball team. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series. I don't know. They may not. But you know what? They're going to have a say in it. I mean, it felt like the Eagles were going to be on a collision course with the Detroit Lions this whole season, and I think they would have been if not for Detroit's injuries. It feels to me like the Phillies and Dodgers could be on a collision course. Now, there's other great teams. There's no doubt. There's other great teams.
If we're on a collision course with the Dodgers for the NLCS, they should be very afraid.
I agree. John, I totally agree with that. And let me tell you the 3 things that have stood out to me. So I want to hear from you at 215-592-9494. If you're down there, and obviously all 3 games are sellouts, so you got about, 140,000 or 150,000, whatever the heck it was, down there over the course of 3 games. So let me hear from
awesome.
you. Yeah, it was great. And ballpark's jumping. John was there. We'll get into his experience Saturday. Unfortunately, John got the bad game Saturday. But if you were there, we want to hear from you, 215-592-9494. Obviously, if you watched on TV or listened here on WIP, we want to hear from you as well. It was a great series. The first 2 games were very similar in template, just with the flip of as far as who wins. But the third game was a totally different style of game, and obviously the Phils slugged it out. Let me tell you the 3 main things that have stood out to me so far this season. And all 3 apply to this series versus the Dodgers, but now 9 games in, these are my top 3 so far this season. 1, Luzardo. Okay? Luzardo. And by the way, compliments to Dave Dombrowski, who got raked through the coals this offseason to an extent, raked through the coals. People were saying he did nothing. He might have gotten a star pitcher. At the very least, he got a really, really, really good pitcher. So, and they didn't trade Andrew Painter for him. So, number 1, Luzardo, with a tip of the cap to Dombrowski. Number 2 so far this season, the comebacks. There have been a lot. They've only played 9 games. They already got a lot of comebacks. Came back twice yesterday. But, I mean, they have this fight thing that obviously great Phillies teams historically have had. 80 had it. 07, I remember having it even more than 08. The way they'd come back in games. I mean, there's no question this team has that DNA where they're going to keep fighting. They showed that yesterday. I think they've got the eye of the tiger, and that's really important. Now, you want to maintain it. You want to make sure you have it in October. Okay, I'm not going to get ahead of myself and act like what defines them now will define them in October. We'll see. We know they ran out of some gas last year after 2 months, but the comeback so far have been very impressive. And number 3, I think there is a discernible difference in the way they're approaching hitting, and that includes base running. I say it. I mean, I know their chase rate is way down. You know, they're doing little. I know Stock got doubled off on Saturday, and that
he was trying to steal.
Correct.
It happens.
Correct.
It happens.
Correct.
It's baseball.
Correct. Can everyone understand? I think it was not understood. He was trying to steal. When he realized the ball had gotten hit to right field, he tried to get back as quick as he could. He couldn't. It was bad luck. You know what happened on Friday? He went for a stolen base at one point, and that affected the other team to not turn a double play that led to a run. They're being more aggressive. Trey Turner had them. These games all run together.
Bryce
Friday
did
or
the
Saturday.
same thing on Sunday, and it helped
Yes,
us win.
I mean Bryce and Trey Turner are running. Okay, guys are hitting. They're situational hitting right now. I mean, I've been very impressed with the lack of chase. So the combination of some running and better plate discipline, to me, has been very noticeable. By the way, with this 7-2 record, you know what's beautiful? The next game, and unfortunately it's not till tomorrow, I wish we had a game every day, they hand the ball back to Zach Wheeler. They're probably going to get to 8-2.
Against a 1-8 Braves team.
Yeah, I mean, so... You know, like, I'm totally psyched, guys. I'm all in, and I'm thrilled with what they're doing. And again, my main 3 so far this year have been Luzardo, the comebacks, and better at-bats coupled with some base running and sort of an offensive approach that looks a little different. Look, your phone calls, 215-592-9494. That's not to say there haven't been some negatives. We'll talk about them as well. Nola, not really sharp. Not disaster Saturday, but not really sharp. Obviously, Romano, a disaster. Bohm, something ain't right there right now. All right? Something's not right. We'll take your phone calls on all this. 215-592-9494. Your thoughts on the Fightin' Phils after a great early April series win versus the LA Dodgers. 215-592-9494. Joe DeCamara and Jon Ritchie, it's 94 WIP.
Only 2 teams remain, but you can still get in on the biggest game of the season with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, because right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Just go to FanDuel.com/JonR, JONR, to get started. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from team totals to point spreads and so much more. You can bet on which player you think will be the leading scorer or bet the money line on who will win the title. The tournament action is at its peak, and FanDuel gives you all the ways to bet and all the excitement you can handle. So visit FanDuel.com/JonR, JONR, and get in on the biggest college hoops game of the year with America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 94 WIP. That's FanDuel.com/JonR, JONR, for your chance to win big today.
21 plus.